Good afternoon. Kathleen Drew, Chair of the Energy Facility Site Evaluation Council, bringing our monthly meeting to order. Ms. Grantham, will you call the roll?
Certainly, Chair Drew. Department of Commerce,
Elizabeth Osborne, present.
Department of Ecology,
Eli Levitt, present.
Department of Fish and Wildlife,
Mike Livingston, present.
Department of Natural Resources,
Lenny Young, present.
Utilities and Transportation Commission,
Stacy Brewster, present.
for local government and optional state agencies. For the Horse Heaven Project for Benton County, do we have Ed Brost? For the Badger Mountain Project for Douglas County, for the Watoma Solar Project for Benton County, Dave Sharp. Washington State Department of Transportation, Paul Gonseth.
Paul Gunseth, present.
Hop Hill Solar Project for Benton County, Paul Crippen. Carriager Solar Project for Klickitat County, Matt Childs.
Matt Childs, present.
For the Wooloo Gap Project for Benton County, Adam File. And for GoldenEye Best for Skagit County, Robbie Eckroth.
Robbie Eckroth, present.
Assistant Attorney Generals, John Thompson. And Zach Packer.
Present.
Administrative Law Judges, Adam Torum.
Judge Torum, I'm present.
Laura Bradley. Dan Gerard. And Travis Dupree. And I will call council staff who may be anticipated to speak today. Sonia Bumpus.
Present.
Amy Hofgemeyer.
Present.
Amy Moon.
Amy Moon, present.
Sarah Randolph. Sean Green.
Sean Green, present.
Lance Caputo. Lance Caputo is present in the room. John Barnes.
Present.
Joanne Snarsky.
Present.
And Zia Ahmed.
Zia Ahmed, present.
Operational updates for Kittitas Valley Wind.
Jared Cassidy, present.
Wild Horse Wind Power Project.
Jennifer Galbraith, present.
Grays Harbor Energy Center. Chehalis Generation Facility.
Jeremy Smith, present.
Columbia Generating Station.
Dennis Mehinagich, present.
Columbia Solar.
Thomas Cushing, present.
And Goose Prairie Solar.
Jacob Christ, present.
And do we have someone present for the Council for the Environment?
Yes, Sarah Reineveld and Yuri Corral are present.
Thank you, Chair. There is a quorum for all councils.
Thank you. Council members, you have in front of you the agenda, proposed agenda for this meeting. Is there a motion to adopt the proposed agenda?
Lenny Young, so moved.
Stacy Brewster, second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
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 Hi.
Aye.
Opposed? It is adopted. Moving on to the meeting minutes, we have 3 sets of meeting minutes for today. The first we'll take up is the August 13th, 2024 GoldenEye Best Informational Meeting and Land Use Hearing Minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Stacy Brewster, so moved.
Thank you. Second?
Eli Levitt, second.
Thanks. Any corrections or edits from council members? I don't have any. Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes from the GoldenEye Best August 13th meeting, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to the August 21st monthly council meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
Elizabeth Osborne, so
Mike
moved.
Livingston.
Elizabeth
Mike
Aug-
Livingston, second.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I have a couple of changes, corrections. I believe on page 7, on line 1. Let me see where that is. If I can look more closely. Before quoting the governor, I think there should be a word in there, quote. Can you see where that is, Ms. Grantham?
Is this for the Horse Heaven minutes or for the August 21st monthly
Oh.
meeting?
Thank you. That's
Of
why
course.
I couldn't find it. Yes. For the August monthly meetings, I have no corrections. Anyone else? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the August 21st, 2024 monthly council meeting minutes, say aye.
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 Opposed? Those are approved. Moving on to the August 29th Horse Heaven special meeting minutes. Motion to approve the minutes.
Stacy Brewster, so moved.
Eli Levitt, second.
Thank you. Now, page 7, line 1. Let me see where this is. So really, it's at the beginning of line 1, quote. It should say on line 25, I know that he also stated that, quote, the record is robust. So that's what should go in there. Then on page 19, line 14, I have an answer to a question from Mr. Livingston. Well, let me ask one more question. I'm sorry, and I say no. I believe I don't ever say that to council members who have questions. So even though I don't remember exactly, can we, without objection, I would say no problem. Add the word problem in there. And those are all the corrections that I have. Anyone else? All those in favor of those approving those minutes as amended, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Those minutes are amended. Thank you so much to everybody. And we will move on to the operational updates. Kittitas Valley Wind Project, Mr. Cassidy.
Yeah, good afternoon, Chair Drew, FSEC Council and staff. This is Jared Cassidy with EDP Renewables for the Kittitas Valley Wind Power Project. We had nothing non-routine to report for the period.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wild Horse Wind Power Project, Ms. Galbraith.
Yes, thank you, Chair Drew, council members and staff. This is Jennifer Galbraith with Puget Sound Energy representing the Wild Horse Wind Facility. And I also have nothing non-routine to report for the period.
Thank you. Chehalis Generation Facility, Mr. Smith.
Good afternoon, Chair Drew, FSEC Council and staff. I'm Jeremy Smith, the Operations Manager for the Chehalis Generation Facility, and I have nothing non-routine to report for the month of August.
Great. Grays Harbor Energy Center, I didn't hear Mr. Sharon. If he's not there, Mr. Barnes.
Thank you, Chair Drew and council members. For the record, this is John Barnes on behalf of Sarah Randolph, Site Specialist for Grays Harbor. The facility update is provided in your packet. There are no other updates to report at this time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Columbia Solar, Mr. Cushing.
Good afternoon, Chair Drew, council members, FSEC staff. This is Thomas Cushing speaking on behalf of Columbia Solar. There are no non-routine updates to report.
Thank you. Columbia Generating Station, before I go to the facility itself, I'd like Ms. Amy Moon to give us an update.
Thank you, Council Chair Drew. So good afternoon, FSEC council members and Council Chair Drew. For the record, this is Amy Moon reporting on the Columbia Generating Station. And I want to give a brief introduction to the council before Energy Northwest, or EN, provides their council update. Energy Northwest is here today to report on 2 National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System, or the NPDES permit noncompliance issues. FSEC received the required notifications, including a 5-day report for an incident reported September 10th of 2024 involving a release to the Columbia River. A new emergent incident was also reported this morning just after 7:30 a.m. to FSEC, the statewide Environmental Reports Tracking System, which is known as ERTS, E-R-T-S, and the U.S. Coast Guard. Ecology staff are in the field today at the Columbia Generating Station to gather information and assess the situation. Both incidents involve plant service water that flows into the circulating water basin and then into the Columbia River. FSEC will continue to coordinate with Energy Northwest and Ecology on these reported incidents. And as I said before, EN is here to update the council on both incidents and to answer your questions. I can turn it over to them unless the council has any questions for me.
Any questions for Ms. Moon? Mr. Mehinagic.
Yeah, good afternoon, Chair Drew, council members, and staff. For the record, this is Dennis Mehinagic providing updates for Energy Northwest, Columbia Generating Station, and Washington Nuclear Projects 1 and 4. So on September 10th, 2024, at approximately 2:35 p.m., Energy Northwest became aware that no more than 30 gallons of silicon compressor fluid, Solaire 24 KT, had potentially leaked through the service air compressor heat exchanger and entered the plant service water system, also known as TSW. The compressor was removed from service on September 3rd due to excessive oil consumption. Despite the lowered oil level, the best information at the time indicated no loss of oil to the TSW system. The heat exchanger remained out of service and was pressure tested on September 10th and confirmed to have a leak that would allow the silicone compressor fluid to migrate into TSW. TSW cools service air compressors and other non-radioactive loads in the facility before returning to the circulating water basin, where it's mixed with circulating water and may enter a system again, such as TSW, circulating water, or fire protection water. Because TSW returns to the circulating water basin, it can be discharged to the Columbia River with circulating water blowdown. An investigation is being conducted into what caused the failure of the heat exchanger. All damaged heat exchanger equipment was replaced and tested before the air compressor was returned to service. The evaluation is being driven by Energy Northwest Corrective Action Program and is assigned a condition report number 461715. Energy Northwest completed a report within 24 hours pursuant the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System permit condition S3F2BI, which involved notifications via phone to FSEC via the number that was listed in the NPDES permit. This notification occurred at approximately 8:35 p.m. on September 10th. Energy Northwest followed up by phone call with FSEC the morning of September 11th, 2024, to ensure that the notification was received. The United States Coast Guard and the Washington State Emergency Management Division were also immediately notified of the event. Energy Northwest submitted a NPDES 5-day noncompliance report to FSEC on September 12th, 2024. Moving on to the second event that Amy Moon mentioned. So on September 18th, 2024, that is today, Columbia Generating Station determined that lubricating oil was likely released into a plant service water system, or TSW, due to a failed heat exchanger on the reactor feed water turbine alpha. Isolation of the heat exchanger from plant service water is still in progress. The plant service water system returns water to the circulating water basin, which contains a minimum of 300,000 gallons of water. The basin, the Cirque Water Basin, is connected to the Columbia River via a blowdown line. The blowdown line was secured this morning at 7:39 a.m. A visual inspection of the basin did not identify any oil sheen or film, but a sample downstream of the affected heat exchanger revealed an oily sheen in the sample bottle. It does not appear that the oil release poses a threat to human health or the environment. However, because there could have been a discharge of an unknown quantity of oil into the Columbia River, this matter was immediately reported under RCW 90.56.280 to the United States Coast Guard and Washington State Department of Ecology and to EFSEC. That is all I had for this matter. And we are planning on submitting a 5-day report, which is tied to this event, no later than close of business Monday.
So do you know if whatever is leaking has been identified and stopped?
So regarding the September 10th event, yes, that heat exchanger was immediately removed from service and isolated. And then that heat exchanger was replaced with a new heat exchanger. And there are no further leaks regarding the September 10th event. Regarding today's event, September 18th, blowdown is isolated and continues to be isolated while we develop a plan to swap out the damaged heat exchanger. And we're still developing that plan now. But
Okay.
any discharge to the Columbia River has ceased as of 7:39 a.m. this morning.
Okay. And you'll have more information as you conduct your analysis about
Yep.
how long that might have been happening.
That is
Since you
correct.
found the some oil further downstream. So, okay.
That
Are
is
there other
correct.
questions from council members? Mr. Young?
Yeah, if I remember correctly, these are the second and third incidents of this type that have occurred within the last year. Is there some type of a higher level issue here in terms of age of the equipment or the inspection regime? What can we take away from 3 such equipment failures occurring within a short period of time?
Yeah, good question, and thank you for that. We are evaluating, we're looking at the extended conditions on all heat exchangers that are cooled by TSW. We had a meeting with our engineering department yesterday to discuss an evaluation of that type. So we'll have more information to share, and we can share that information at future council meetings and with Amy Moon.
Go ahead, Mr. Young.
Yeah, thank you for that. I appreciate it. I guess where I'm headed is it would be nice to see if the facility could get out in front of these things, if there is some type of a higher level overarching issue that needs to be confronted instead of having to continue to react to them on a as failed basis.
Yep, understand.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you very much, and we look forward to hearing ongoing reports. Moving on to Goose Prairie Solar Project Update, Mr. Christ.
Thank you, and good afternoon, Chair Drew, EFSEC Council and staff. This is Jacob Christ, Senior Project Manager on behalf of Brookfield Renewable US, providing the Goose Prairie Solar Project update for this period. So for construction status, the project remains ahead of contractual schedule still. We've achieved some of our latest milestones on time with as far as an initial sync date on August 26th, and then an actual start of the BPA 90-day soak was on August 26th. Hot commissioning of all our inverters has been completed since September 6th, including all punch list items. We're still targeting substantial completion. It's somewhat of a moving date right now. It's scheduled to be around early October now instead of mid-September. We'll be waiting on a utility sign off, and then we can declare a commercial operation date that is expected on or around November 25th still. We would like to pull that in some if we can. As mentioned, all major scope items are complete with modules, racking, trackers, and substation. BPA curtailment checks are in progress, and the BPA comms checks are still in progress. Capacity and availability testing will follow shortly after those BPA comms checks and curtailment checks. And again, that's scheduled for early October as of now. We did commence the first grass cutting contracted through our EPC that started in late August per the vegetation and weed management plan. It's scheduled to be completed by early October. Right now for operations and maintenance, we're still tracking the O&M site certificate deliverables with Sarah and her team for whenever they're approved and declaring COD. For environmental compliance, we had no discharge on the site reported in August, and then the frequent monitoring does occur. And then for two other items, next council meeting for October, I will introduce Nelson Gia, who will start providing operational updates in November. He would be Brookfield's asset manager for this site. And then for public outreach or really visits to the site, it sounds like we have some visits. A visit coming up in mid-October from public officials for the state of Washington. Any questions?
Any questions for Mr. Christ? Thank you. Exciting time. We're with you and looking forward to the transition and thanking you for all the work and leadership you've had throughout this time.
Yeah, thank you.
Moving on to High Top and Ostria. We have project update. I will ask Mr. Barnes, and then the construction stormwater general permit. I'm going to ask Ms. Amy Hofgemeyer.
Oh.
Okay.
Thank you, Council and Chair Drew. This is John Barnes. Excuse me. On behalf of Sarah Randolph, Site Specialist for Ostria. FSAC staff are continuing to receive and review documents being sent by the certificate holder for pre-construction plans. As a condition of the site certificate agreement, or SCA, Article 4D1, the facility is required to obtain a construction stormwater general permit prior to construction. FSEC issues coverage under the Department of Ecology General Permit. In your packet, you will find a letter of coverage that identifies the procedural differences between Ecology General Permit and FSEC's authorities. Some examples include enforcement authority, fee structure, and transfer of ownership. Ostria Solar submitted their Notice of Intent, or NOI, for coverage under this permit on August 29th. Thank you.
Ms. Hofgemeyer.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Drew and Council, and thank you, Mr. Barnes, for the introduction. As he stated, FSEC adopts the Ecology Construction Stormwater General Permit. However, there are some differences as identified in the ecology process and the FSEC process, primarily to do with appeals, reporting, fees, et cetera. And so staff would like to request that the council put out for 30-day comment this letter of coverage to then be issued along with the construction stormwater general permit to the facility.
Okay, so once we talk to me about the process after that comment period, please.
Of course. So in the development of the construction stormwater general permit, Ecology issued that document out for public comment. So that public comment is for that document is already complete. So FSEC requests public comment for our letter of coverage specifically. Once any comments are received, if any changes are indicated that should be made, if they're substantive, FSEC may request that we go out again for public comment. If it's, correcting of minor typos or something like that, FSEC would request that the council issue the permit.
Okay, so we'll receive the public comments in the next 30 days, and after that, it would come back to the council with any of those comments.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from council members? Is there a motion from council members to put the letter of coverage for Cypress Creek Renewables on behalf of Austria Solar Facility out for public comment?
Lenny Young, so moved.
Thank you. Second?
Stacy Brewster, second.
Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of putting these coverage letter out for public comment for 30 days, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Horse Heaven Wind Farm, Ms. Moon.
Good afternoon, Council Chair Drew and FSEC members. For the record, this is Amy Moon reporting on the Horse Heaven Wind Project. As directed by the Council on September 13th of 2024, FSEC staff applied the Council's changes to the Draft Site Certification Agreement, or SCA, and the Appendix 2 mitigation measures. FSEC staff submitted the final site certification agreement, including those mitigation measures and the public comments received, to the Governor on September 17th. Pursuant to Revised Code of Washington 80.50.1001B, the Governor shall either approve the application and execute the certification agreement or reject the application. If the Governor rejects the application, that rejection shall be the final decision on the Scout Clean Energy February 8th, 2021 application for site certification. Does the council have any questions?
Are there any questions from council members? Thank you, Ms. Moon.
You're welcome.
Watoma Solar project update, Mr. Caputo.
Thank you, Chair Drew and council members. The adjudicated proceeding for the Watoma Solar Energy Project is scheduled for Wednesday, September 25, beginning at 9 a.m. All documents for council review are available in the council's SharePoint. Staff can provide assistance in locating these if any of you are having difficulties. The subsequent public comment hearing session is scheduled for Thursday evening, October 3rd, beginning at 5 p.m. Thank you. May I answer any of your questions?
So again, for council members, there are pre-filed documents for the hearing already on our SharePoint site.
That is correct.
So if you need any assistance finding those, perhaps staff can send a link to the Watoma council members just to kind of have that right in front of us, because it's helpful to review all of that ahead of time before. We all will be doing that before the adjudication.
We will do that for you.
Thank you. I also want to comment, because those of you who are seeing our reports, we have new additions, which I'm very happy to see, which is that it's identifying where in our site certification process each project is and the location of the project. So thank you, staff, for adding those to our information sheets. So for the public, you can also look those up and follow them on a month-to-month basis. Any questions from council members about Watoma or the adjudicative process coming up? Okay. Moving on to the Hop Hill Solar Project update, Mr. Barnes.
Thank you, Chair Drew and council members. For the record, this is John Barnes, FSEC staff for the Hop Hill application. Work is continuing with the applicant to complete studies and reports needed to make a SEPA determination. We continue to coordinate and review the application with our contractor, contracted agencies, and tribal governments. Are there any questions?
Questions from council members? Okay. Carriger Solar project update, Ms. Narsky.
Thank you, Chair Drew and council members. For the record, this is Joanne Snarsky, the siting specialist for Carriger Solar. In August, we received an updated amendment to the wetland and water bodies delineation reports previously submitted in 2023. This amendment was in response to comments received from Ecology, both in writing and during a field visit conducted in last spring. We anticipate final comments from Ecology in mid-October on that report. May I answer any questions?
Are there any questions for Ms. Snarsky? Thank you. Wallula Gap project update, Mr. Barnes.
Thank you, Chair Drew and council members. For the record, this is John Barnes, FSEC staff for the Wallula Gap application. FSEC received on August 29th responses from One Energy regarding a request for additional information. The request is the result of an application review which discovered additional information was determined to be needed to reach a SEPA determination for this application. Staff are continuing to review the application with our contractor, contracted agencies, and tribal governments. Are there any questions?
Any questions? Thank you. Lanai Bess, Mr. Ahmed.
Thank you, Chair Drew and council member. For the record, this is Zia Ahmed, siting specialist for GoldenEye Battery Energy Storage Project. Staff from other agency are continuing to review the ASC and collaborate with APSEC. That's all the update I have for now. Let me know if you have any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Ahmed? Thank you. That concludes the agenda for today. Thank you all. Meeting is adjourned.